Hi, I'm Zoe Johnson, and this is a critique of Mouse, a graphic novel by Art Spiegelman. Art Spiegelman tells a powerful story about World War II using just cartoon animals to convey his message. It sounds contradictory, but the simplistic creatures can express obvious emotions with very minimalized details. It's really the lack of detail that allows the reader to fully engage with each character and to understand their thought process throughout the whole novel. The main character, Vladek Spiegelman, he's so plain and fairly gender neutral, and he looks like every other mouse on the page that really anyone can place themselves in his shoes. As Scott McCloud says in his book, Understanding Comics, The Invisible Art, and I quote, when we abstract an image through cartooning, we're not so much eliminating details as we are focusing on specific details. So Vladek, he has these two black dots for eyes and these thick dark lines for eyebrows and just a pointy muzzle for a mouth, and all that really acts to accentuate any expression that plays across his face. The feelings that Vladek and all the other characters experience are so recognizable and so easy for the reader to interpret that it's really possible to see yourself in those images. Most people, I think, can very readily sympathize with Holocaust victims, but because it's such a foreign experience that I think people actually fail to empathize with it. Mouse allows the reader to kind of experience some of what the victims went through, and that's something Hollywood continues to have a difficult time doing. Spiegelman categorizes the three prominent races in Nazi-occupied Europe by assigning them their own animal. The Poles are pigs, the Germans become cats, and the Jews are mice. The quotes he uses at the start of Mouse 1 and 2 offer insight as to why he chose to draw the Jews as mice. The Nazis saw them as vermin. They justified their extermination of the Jews because they believed they were doing the Aryan world a favor, as they saw them as an inferior race. Not unlike mice, Jews and other targeted groups were essentially forced to the bottom of the food chain and, in some instances, made to rely on purely animalistic behavior to survive. By grouping the races, the audience knows instantly who's who. There are some flaws in this technique. It's extremely difficult to distinguish characters of the same race. Scenes that take place within the confines of Auschwitz are particularly confusing because all the Jewish prisoners, both male and female, look absolutely identical. I mean, they're wearing the same outfits, and they're all, white-faced mice. In some ways, the loss of identity is beneficial to the story because it sort of mirrors the Nazi view of the Jews. Nazis would shave the heads of the prisoners and give them the same outfit and strip them entirely of their individuality. Even though it can be confusing at times, Spiegelman's decision to draw all the Jews as identical mice sort of adds to the mood of the war. The alternative would be that he added more detail to the characters, but this would distract from their everyman demeanor. Contrary to the abstract characters and not so linear storyline, the form of paneling used in Mouse is very straightforward. It's the run-of-the-mill comic strip format. Occasionally, Spiegelman throws in an unframed panel or a non-traditional skewed panel, and these usually serve to add importance to the scene or highlight a detail, or they're a drawing or a picture or a map that the character is actually looking at. Obviously, this allows the reader to see what information the characters had gathered, but it also serves to further integrate the audience into the book. It gives the actual viewpoint of Vladek or Art. Overall, the paneling is very direct and very easy to follow. Without this, the reader would really struggle to meld to the material. Because, the Holocaust is such an alien topic, yet Mouse is a quick read, and this is due in part to the framing being so easy to follow. The color, or I suppose lack of color, utilizes also helps with the progression of the plot. Maus has two simultaneous stories. One is Vladek's Holocaust survivor story, and the other is author Art Spiegelman's retelling of what he went through in order to document his father's story. There's usually a segue between the two plots, but the coloring and difference in pen strokes are also noticeably different between the two settings. When Art is talking to Vladek, the images are brighter and little shading is used, and there's mostly white on the page. The scenes that occur during the Holocaust are rougher and darker, and everything kind of appears to be covered in filth. It really adds to the grittiness of the situation. So instantly one knows that the mood has changed, and this mood shift and change in color is so subtle, but it imparts so much meaning. I doubt this could be translated into film as successfully. It's the combination of abstraction of reality, the simplistic drawing style, and the block paneling and the addition and subtraction of shading that makes Maus such an engrossing little novel. And it can only really be told in a comic medium.